What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Going for Two. I am Kejuannh Humphreys. The NBA Finals are tied up 1-1 after the Oklahoma City Thunder came away with a 123-107 victory at the crib in Game 2. To keep it a whole beam with y'all, to keep it a buck with y'all, you know what I'm saying? I felt like there was no way that OKC was going to lose Game 2. No way. This is a team that hasn't lost back-to-back games, I want to say all year, or maybe it was like one or two times during the regular season they have lost back-to-back games. So I didn't think they would start here, especially at the crib, man. But one thing I wanted to see how the Pacers came out and played. I wanted to see if the Pacers were going to be satisfied with being up 1-0. And they were not. I'm not going to sit here and say that they just rolled over and didn't really put in the same effort or put in the same intensity, play with the same intensity as they did in Game 1. The OKC Thunder just refused to lose tonight's game. Let's take a look at some of the stats. Game 1, OKC shot horribly. They shot under 40% from the field. Today they shot 48, pushing 49% from the field, and almost shot 40% from three-point line. I credit not only the offense being more dialed in, guys hitting shots, they're creating more open looks, and their role players also playing better as well. But also, I got to give credit to the Pacers in Game 1. Game 1, the Pacers played incredible defense. We talked about their turnovers in Game 1, but it didn't really kill them as much because they got back on defense and forced missed shots off of those turnovers. But Game 2, OKC didn't force as many turnovers as they did in Game 1, but they were a lot more efficient in Game 2, man. Shai Gilgeous, we know what we're going to get from him. He had 34 points tonight. I fully anticipate him averaging 30 points throughout the rest of the series. I don't think it's going to be a game where he doesn't score 30 because he's just that good, and I don't think that Indiana has the guys, has the facilities to stop him from getting whatever he wants, especially if he's getting to the free throw line as well. But it wasn't just Shai Gilgeous, it was the other guys. That was the big thing tonight for me, the other guys. You had an 18-point game from Aaron Wiggins, a 20-point game from Alex Caruso. Chet Holmgren played a lot better in tonight's game as well. Jalen Williams still was kind of off, but he finished with 14 points of his own. So there was just a lot more help. A lot more help for Shai Gilgeous on the offensive end. And watching this OKC team, it's like, to me, it's like, okay, we know we're going to get Shai. We know Shai's going to ball out every single game. But if he can get help from either Chet or either J-Dub, this team is going to be really, really tough to beat. Because there's going to be one of those others. This OKC team is so deep. One of the others, at least one, is going to come out and give you a good performance. Game 1, we saw Lu Dort score 15 points. We saw Lu Dort give you 15 points. It might have been more than 15 points, but he hit 5 threes. Tonight, it was Andrew Wiggins knocking down all them 3 balls. Alex Caruso making play after play after play. Chet Holmgren. You could tell they really wanted to get their guys involved early. Chet Holmgren knocked down a couple jumpers early on in the game, and then as the game progressed, you saw Shai Gilgeous being the assassin that he is, just continuing to beat down, just hitting tough shot after tough shot, getting to the free throw line, doing what he had to do to help extend his lead for his team. We saw Kejuannh Wallace once again start. Kejuannh Wallace started again, and I wanted to. When I was thinking about Game 1, I was thinking, okay, maybe Mark Daigneault outcoached himself, because a big thing that happened during the run of Game 1 was they went small. They went really small, and that's when the offensive rebounds and different stuff like that started going towards the Pacers' way, and the game kind of shifted. Tonight, we see Isaiah Hartenstein come off the bench again, but he played a good bit. Played 22 minutes. Now, he played 22 minutes in a blowout win, so he probably would have played maybe 26, 27, 28 if the game was tighter. And we saw the way he just dominated the glass. We saw a lot of high-low action with him and Chet this game. Him and Chet, they dominated the glass. And if they can do that, then they really should handle their way through this series. Defensively, I love how OKC looked defensively, doing what OKC does. You know what I'm saying? OKC, they have that chaos. They cause so much chaos on the offensive end for their opponents, and it forces tough shots, crazy-looking possessions, and a bunch of turnovers. Let's talk about the Pacers. Like I said, the Pacers, they didn't come out like they were satisfied with winning Game 1. They would have took Game 2 for sure if the opportunity was presented to them. And they hung around early in that first quarter, but the second quarter, things kind of went bad. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. I did not like what I saw from Tyrese Halliburton. He had 12 points in the fourth quarter, and I commend him for that. But those 12 points came when you're down by 20 points. You know, they came when it did not have an immediate impact on the game. You know, he went into the fourth quarter with 5 points. He did, you know, and this is the thing with Tyrese. I'm not going to sit here and say I love Tyrese, but I watch Tyrese. I'm a fan of his game. I'm a fan of the dogness and the clutchness that he has. But over the course of these first two games, this team could easily be down 0-2. You know, he had a very big shot. He had a monumentous game-winning shot in game one. But if that shot misses, he has 12 points in a game one loss. And he has 17 points in a game two loss and they're down 0-2. Now, I know I can't talk hypotheticals. I can't talk about if the series was 2-0 because it's not. But I just want to give y'all a glimpse into what I'm thinking. Tyrese, your team needs you to be a dog. You know, and this is why it's so hard to rank Tyrese for me, because he's had these crazy moments in these playoffs. Crazy moments. But in the same breath, in the same series, he will have a very quiet game. You know, you look back at the last series, game one, he had I want to say he had 31-11 in game one. He had the three to tie the series, to tie the game, or the two to tie the game up. Did the choke sign, boom. Game two, we had like 11, 12, 13 points. You know, they won that game. But when we started to have these conversations with Tyrese Halliburton being among these top 10, top 13, 14 guys, we have to talk about both the good and the bad. Halliburton is clutch. There's a number that's been all over the place. He's second all time in game-winning shots or game-winning or game-tying shots in the last couple seconds in the playoffs or whatever. Crazy. But the stats for those games are not compared to the stats of the games that he's lined up with. You know, imagine if a LeBron James scored 14 points in the NBA Finals. You know, scored 17 points in the NBA Finals. He would be getting ridiculed. You know what I'm saying? And I think Tyrese Halliburton, we have to see him be that dog. And we know that dog is in him. Because we saw game one against the Knicks. We saw game four against the Knicks where he goes up for 32, 10, and 15. And I think that it is a possibility that he has one of those games in this series against OKC. But I feel like that game can't come when the series way out of reach. That's it. That game has to come to me in game 3 or game 4. Tyrese Halliburton, they need you. They're going to need you to average more than 15.5 points to win this series. They're going to need it. And I know so much Tyrese is not just scoring, but that's fine. But make an imprint on the game. Make an imprint on the game when it's a 5-point game in the second quarter. When the Thunder are going on a run and your team needs something to happen. Make an imprint on the game right there. Don't make an imprint on the game when you're down by 20 points in the fourth quarter. You know? And that's just a tough thing. You know what I'm saying? I understand he has a very tough, very, very tough matchup with Lou Dort and Caruso and Case and Wallace and all them guys. But if you're going to be in these conversations, you have to rise to this occasion. You got to rise to this occasion, man. Game 3 in Indiana, I think this may be another really good game because this game to me is going to I would say show how this series is going to go. Very pivotal game 3. If Indiana comes out and wins this game, they're up 2-1 going into game 4. You know? And that's the beauty of stealing home court away because now the ball's in your court. You take a game on the road, now you just got to handle business. It's home cooking. Home cooking, man, and that's all Indiana has to do. If they can take game 3, and you know what I'm saying, this will really put them ahead. OKC on the flip side, if they take game 3, they're back in control of this series. They have home court advantage back, and that's exactly what they want. Looking forward to seeing a couple things. Looking forward to seeing a Siakam and Tyrese game. Looking forward to seeing the depth. We saw the depth in game 2 for OKC. I'm looking forward to seeing the role guys show out in Indiana as well. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about this series. 1-1. Who y'all got going the rest of the way? How y'all feel about Tyrese, SGA? How y'all feel about their game 2s? Going for 2. Until next time, we out of here. Yeah.